Hello everyone, this is Jack Frost with your daily update for the Ethereum Technicals and Solana, and today I am updating the weekly charts. On the Ethereum weekly chart, price has previously consolidated within this range between resistance at 4130 and support at 2800, now resistance. Price has broken below that consolidation range with this bearish candlestick just here with support from volume, as I will get into in a second. Price currently hovering around resistance prior support at 2800. Volume supports downwards movement with strongest volume on the bearish candlesticks, and a push on this recent bearish candlestick just here, this last low, may suggest that this low could be sustained at this time frame, as it is common within bearish movements for Ethereum to exhibit strength in range and volume, particularly a spike in range and volume for the end of downwards movements, though it is also common in the middle of downwards movements, so we will have to wait for bullish or bearish confirmation to see whether this low will be sustained. I've mentioned that in the last couple of videos, though at this point we do not have confirmation, so we do still have to wait for that. ADX increases with a bearish trend that is not extreme and not yet in danger of ending, expecting price to continue lower. On balance, volume had previously broken out of support. It is currently at support and may find resistance at this prior support line. RSI is neutral and overall declining, having entered overbought, where price found its previous high at resistance at 4130. Currently, it does not exhibit any divergence. Money flow also neutral and declining. Money flow also reached overbought where price found its previous high at 41.30. Money flow does not exhibit any divergence either. ATR has overall increased along with price declining and moving a little bit sideways as price declines and moves sideways itself, giving an overall bullish outlook for volatility. And as this trend indicated by ADX is not yet extreme, it does expect price to continue lower, though as previously mentioned, it is possible that the most recent low could be sustained and we will have to wait for continued bearish or bullish movement for confidence in that low being sustained or price to continue lower. And on the technical daily chart for Ethereum, price has declined after finding resistance at 38.90 for the short to midterm, hovering between support at 2400 and support resistance at 2720. Volume supports downwards movement with the strongest volume on the bearish candlesticks and a push on this last low just here. Additionally, this last completed candlestick also has a push from volume. ATR declines as price moves sideways, giving an overall bullish outlook for volatility as it previously increased along with price. And as ADX declines for Ethereum at this time frame, the model of stochastics and support and resistance suggests an upward swing to continue towards resistance up at 3200, where price finds that resistance point and stochastics may enter overbought. On the Solana weekly chart, this wave count sees primary wave 4 within cycle wave 3 complete at this last low here, finding support at the lower edge of this Elliott channel. Price now expected to continue upwards for primary wave 5 and the end of cycle wave 3. Cycle wave 3 has a target calculated at 2887, which is the 11.09 extreme Fibonacci ratio between that and cycle wave 1. And this Elliott channel drawn around the primary degree movements using Elliott's first technique from the end of primary wave 1 to the end of primary wave 3 with a copy on the end of primary wave 2. As previously mentioned, primary wave 4 has found support at the lower edge of this Elliott channel. If it continues lower, it may break below the Elliott channel, and if it does continue any lower, it cannot move into primary wave 1 price territory at 26.4105. If primary wave 4 does continue any lower and breaks below the Elliott channel will eventually have to be redrawn using Elliott's second technique. Though at this point, with upwards movement expected to continue, this Elliott channel is expected to provide resistance for primary wave 5 as it continues upwards. Though as it is a fifth wave ending a third wave 1 degree higher, it is possible that it ends with a blow off top, as is common for cryptocurrencies and markets with high volatility like Solana. This would see primary wave 5 and the end of cycle wave 3 breaking above the Elliott channel, and this low with the end of primary wave 4 on the weekly chart. Is this low on the daily chart? We see more detail for the downwards movement labeled primary wave 4, an Elliott channel drawn around the intermediate degree movements from the beginning of intermediate wave W to the end of intermediate wave X with a copy on the end of intermediate wave W. As price is now expected to continue upwards, a full green candlestick above and not touching would support this wave count, seeing upwards movement to overall continue. Though at this point, price has very recently found resistance, previously finding resistance for the end of minute wave 1 as well. A point above 193.6182 would add confidence to this wave count, as it is this previous high here with the end of minor wave B. This would break the pattern of lower lows and lower highs and see a new short-term high in place, supporting the wave count, which would see upwards movement to continue. Within intermediate wave 5, any second wave corrective movement cannot move below its start at 111.4255. So for the very short term, if minute wave 2 wants to move any lower, it cannot move below this point. Though at this point, minute wave 3 and minor wave 1 are expected to continue higher with increasing range and momentum. At this point, price does not have a lot of bullish momentum, though as it is the earlier stages of minute wave 3, this is not cause for concern, as within markets like Solana, it is common for third waves to start out slow, accelerate through the middle, and explode at the end. And on this daily alternate chart, this wave count sees primary wave 4 incomplete to continue lower for the end of intermediate wave Y, and within that minor wave C. A target range is calculated for the intermediate and minor degree movements between 84 and 95. 95.3167 is the 1.618 logarithmic Fibonacci ratio of minor wave A, which is the target for minor wave C. And below that, 84.7439 is the 1.618 logarithmic Fibonacci ratio of intermediate wave W, which is the target for intermediate wave Y. This gives a range for where these waves may be labeled complete. Price is now overall expected to continue lower for minute wave 3 within minor wave C. If minute wave 2 within minor wave C continues any higher, it cannot move above 193.6182. Additionally, this point is the confidence point for the main daily chart, as you saw previously. And as price continues lower, this best fit channel drawn around primary wave 4 may provide support for the end of these waves. On the technical weekly chart for Solana, this sideways movement within resistance at 210 and support between 127 and 118 sees price moving overall sideways for the very short term, declining after finding resistance at 190, currently hovering around resistance around 157. Volume supports upwards movement with the strongest volume on the bullish candlesticks and a push on this last bullish candlestick just here, though volume has declined as price overall moves sideways. On balance, volume continues within a range currently giving no signal, though as it is at resistance, it may give a bullish signal if it breaks above resistance or a bearish signal if it reacts and moves down. ATR previously increasing along with price, currently it declines and moves a little bit sideways along with price, giving an overall bullish outlook for volatility at this time frame. As ADX declines for Solana at this time frame, we use the model of stochastics and support and resistance, which suggests a downward swing to continue towards support at 127 or down to 118, where price finds one of those support points and stochastics may enter oversold. Additionally, it is also possible that an upward swing could continue towards resistance at 175, where price finds that resistance point and stochastics enters overbought. We will have to wait for price to continue around resistance at 157 for confidence in either outcome at this time frame. And on the technical daily chart for Solana, we can see more detail for price's decline after finding resistance at 190 for the short to mid-term, hovering around resistance at 157. An additional point above 193.6182 would support the bullish movement, seeing the pattern of lower lows and lower highs broken with a high above this point just here. Volume supports upwards movement with the strongest volume on the bullish candlesticks and a push on this most recent completed candlestick just here. The volume has overall declined as price moves sideways at this point. ATR declines as price moves sideways, giving an overall bullish outlook for volatility, previously increasing along with price. And as ADX declines for Solana at the daily time frame as well, the model of stochastics and support and resistance at this time frame suggests an upward swing may continue towards resistance up at 175, where price finds that resistance point and stochastics enters overbought. That's all for me with your daily update for Solana and the Ethereum Technicals. If you do want the Ethereum Elliott Wave count, we have done an update for that today. You can sign up for that at pureelliottwave.com using the link in the description below. Thank you, and I hope everyone has a good day.